Marc Raimondi for ESPN, joined today by Coach of the Stars, Dewey Cooper. How about this? One of the most underrated coaches in all of combat sports, Las Vegas based, coaches a ton of your favorite fighters from boxing to MMA to Muay Thai to kickboxing, president of Team Combat League. I mean, the resume it speaks for itself, Dewey. I'm so glad to have you today because we're just a few days removed from the announcement that your protege, your student, Francis Ngannou, is going to be boxing again against another one of the biggest names in the sport of boxing, Anthony Joshua, here in just a few months in March. Uh, I mean, I'm sure you knew that was coming before that we knew it was coming, but just kind of impressions about that announcement and this big fight coming up for Francis.
Well, it's spectacular news. We're happy about it. And we're excited to really dive into training camp and prepare for a victory. Everyone doubted Francis Ngannou going into October versus Tyson Fury. You all seen the way that played out. I'm starting to hear a few doubters now about Anthony Joshua. We'll show him again, but this time in more spectacular fashion. We're ready to go. It's going to be a great, tremendous fight.
What does spectacular fashion look like exactly?
Well, you got a glimpse in that third round against Tyson Fury, and it'll be much more of that happening on March 8th. We're expecting Francis to put the exclamation point on his victory this time due to the experience he gained from his first boxing fight. We expect big improvements into his second boxing fight.
There is quite a bit I wanted to ask you about, but I want to rewind to that Fury fight because you and I had not spoken since then. I've spoken with Eric Nixick, your pal over there at Extreme Couture in Vegas. I just want to get your feelings on how that fight went because you know this, Dewey, and you know both sports, you know boxing, you know MMA, and it's not easy for someone to go from MMA to boxing and to have that level of success that Francis did against someone like Tyson Fury, not just any old boxer, the heavyweight
Yeah,
champion of the world, Tyson Fury, lineal heavyweight champ. So just your
yeah.
impressions on how Francis did in that really first pro boxing fight that he had.
Well, we felt he did, a great job. Of course, the question in the back of all of our heads, if there were any, would be how he would finish up going down the stretch. Most people in the world thought he would gas out in 3 or 4 rounds. We knew he wouldn't, but I got 25 pro boxing fights, and my first fight wasn't a 10-rounder. It's kind of ridiculous to ask someone to go 10 rounds their first pro fight. So in the back of my mind, in the back of Eric's mind, and I'm sure slightly in the back of Francis's mind was, man, can I really go this 30 minutes? Though he's been 25, boxing, the pace is much faster, shorter rounds, so you have to really work. And so we were worried about that. He did wonderful, man. He had good energy throughout the fight, which we thought it would be, but you never know until you know. So we know endurance and stamina won't be a factor. So I won't pull the chains of that animal so much this fight. Last fight, in the corner a few times, I was telling him to, watch your energy levels, settle down, don't push too much because we're worried about the finish. Tyson Fury's the type of guy, he's a durable guy. And if you start to show fatigue, he'll jump on you and work a lot harder. So that was something in the back of my mind. Maybe we emphasized on that a little too much, but it was his first fight, man. So we had to be careful with that. In saying that, that was about the only thing that I was, we could have done a little better. But I felt like we won the fight by 2 rounds. We should have been up by 2 points anyway. That's water under the bridge. We're over it. We're okay with it. We're looking forward to the future. March 8th. I won't hold the chains of that animal coming at Joshua for sure. It'll be go, go, go on March 8th.
So he will be looking for the knockout on March 8th against Anthony Joshua.
Anytime Francis fights, he intends on knocking someone out. I'm not going to say we're looking for anything. We expect victory. We're going to work hard for victory. But anytime a monster like Francis Ngannou fights, a knockout is definitely something that is intended to happen. That's all going to depend on how talented the Olympic gold medalist, really excellent boxer, strong guy, Herculean guy, just like Francis. It depends on what he brings to the table. But I can tell you one thing: it's going to be a hell of a fight, and we plan on winning on March 8th that night.
I know that the loss, it's an L on Francis Ngannou's record in boxing,
Yeah,
but I don't think
it still
anyone
irritates
really
me. It
I don't
still
think anyone
irritates me.
really thinks that it was a loss, right? I mean,
Yeah.
win or lose, what he was able to do against Tyson Fury was kind of groundbreaking, and that's kind of what I
Yes.
wanted to ask you because you do know both sports so well. You know boxing really well. You know MMA very well. You've been involved in both sports for decades, right?
Yes.
Could you kind of put into perspective what that was that Francis did because it was groundbreaking. No one's ever done that before.
Yeah. I mean, guys, it's unbelievable what he did. Think about all the great boxers, all the great fighters in any sport of all time. Not one of them have challenged the public's consensus best fighter in his weight class, his first outing doing it. Let me say that in English now. Your first fight, fighting the best dude in the world, current undisputed, undefeated world champion in the prime of his career, younger than you, supposedly better than you. To do that on your first fight and go 10 rounds and drop him in the third and put him under a storm in the eighth. I mean, you could write this in a movie. It would sound far fetched. People would be like, I don't believe that. First of all, he wouldn't have been allowed to fight the champion his first fight, and there's no way he goes to the distance with this guy. Not only did he go to the distance, we truly feel in our heart, in our soul, in our spirit that he won the fight. I'll go to my grave feeling like he won the fight that night. He bested Tyson Fury that night. And saying that, guys, it's a remarkable accomplishment. I mean, no one's ever done it. I don't think anyone else will ever do something like that. You put a guy having his first fight against the guy who's the best in his weight class, it's not going to go like that. People thought Conor McGregor did a decent job against Floyd. Conor was the younger, bigger, supposedly stronger guy. Floyd was way past his prime at 40 years old, and Floyd stopped him. We were the smaller guy. We were the less experienced guy and the older guy. And the guy supposedly that had no stamina. And he showed the world. Because one thing that people forget about, the heart of a man, the intestinal fortitude of a man, and the will of a man is can be contained. And when he feels like he can do something, he can, especially that man, Francis Ngannou.
So now let's fast forward now to this fight coming up against Anthony Joshua. You know, the Fury fight's under your belt. You know, he's got
Yes.
his first pro boxing fight against the best guy in the world. Now he's fighting one of the also top guys in the world at heavyweight. That fight must have come together pretty quickly, right? Because Joshua just fought a few weeks ago in December, won that fight. And then Francis had other options, I know, whether it be MMA or boxing. How did this
Yes.
Joshua fight come together?
I tell you what, I call it the fight gods, the gods of boxing, the gods of entertainment came together and made this happen. This wasn't supposed to happen, as you know. On the undercard of Joshua Otto Wallen was Deontay Wilder and Joseph Parker. Deontay Wilder is supposed to win his fight. Joshua is supposed to win his fight, and that was the fight we were supposed to see.
Mhm.
But Deontay didn't hold up his end of the deal. An opening got there. Joshua looked spectacular in his fight. He looked really clean, polished, strong, and sharp. And now he has no one to fight. Well, guess what? There's someone that'll fight him. There's an MMA fighting champion that'll fight him. And when you think about it, it had to happen. You got two Herculean bodies, two big, muscular, strong African brothers, Nigerian, UK, Cameroonian, French. It had to happen, man. And Francis already said before his first fight with Tyson Fury, he's willing to fight any boxer in the world because he's the baddest man on the planet. And he's going to further show that on March 8th. So it happened really easily. Joshua looked good. Deontay's out. Francis stepped right in.
So Tyson Fury is obviously a completely different fighter than an Anthony Joshua, right? So taking what you guys learned from the Fury fight and from Francis's past, of course, how do you apply that and how do you make those adjustments going into this fight against Anthony Joshua? What's different in this training camp?
Well, a few things. One thing I will say about the Fury fight, Tyson has so many styles. He's such a cerebral, intelligent fighter with a high IQ. These guys are the most difficult to fight because they got so many change-ups. They can do so many things. Fight on the inside, fight on the outside, counterpunch, just jab and move all night. Hold you and get dirty like he showed in the fight against us as well. He has so many dimensions. It's a very cerebral fight. And that's what a lot of people thought would happen. He would just outclass Francis with all his razzmatazz. Francis was able to download a lot of different things in that fight. So going into this fight with Anthony Joshua, I feel it's going to be a more simplistic fight. It's not going to be water versus fire. Francis is the fire with all the power. Tyson Fury is the water. He can crash. He can drown. He can smother you. He can just maneuver around you. He's a very difficult task. This fight is fire versus fire. You got Anthony Joshua, big, strong, athletic champion, Olympic gold medalist. He has an ego about this. He don't want a guy with one fight coming from MMA beating him up. So he's going to come with a little bravado and an ego. But it's going to be basically two guys with the same type of skills, the same type of attributes. Joshua, to me, is an awesome boxer. I can't lie. He's sharp, hands in position, popping a jab, has a freaking powerful right hand that could put anyone's lights out. So on paper, people may think he's the cleaner boxer, but Francis is athletic, has good boxing, has a good jab, and can put your lights out with both hands. So it's going to be an incredible fight. I predict this fight to be fire versus fire. The man who has the most will, the most intestinal fortitude, the biggest heart, and lands that money shot will be the victor. And I feel that's going to be Francis Ngannou. At the end of the day, in a good old-fashioned street fight, it's going to come down to who's the toughest, who's the most durable, and who can land that clean shot. And I gotta say, I think Francis Ngannou, Le Predator, will feast on Anthony Joshua.
Well, it's crazy what you mentioned about Tyson Fury is that I think a lot of people thought that if Francis was going to beat Tyson Fury, he would need to knock him out or he would need to hurt him and kind of push the pace
Yes,
and get in his
yes,
face
stop
and
him.
overpower him. You know, kind of like we've seen in Francis fights with like a Jairzinho Rosenstrike where he just comes out
Yes,
and starts throwing bombs. He didn't do that, Dewey. He
yes,
he he outboxed Tyson Fury in some respects, right? He had a
yes,
he put forth the technical performance, tactical
yes.
performance against Tyson Fury. You think it'll be a little bit different against Joshua? Is kind of what you're saying. You think there might be a little bit more higher pace, maybe some bigger shots thrown.
I wish I could just sit here and lie to you guys, but I'm a real dude. I'm a transparent dude. At the end of the day, we all know it's going to be different because Joshua, though he moves well, he's not a mobile guy. Joshua has an ego. He's not going to run away and stick and move and try to stay on the outside and move away. Joshua's going to step into that flame also. That's why I say it's fire versus fire. Man, both of these guys, Joshua likes to come forward with that jab, kind of a lead foot boxer puncher style, but he's not a maneuvering guy trying to stay away all the time. His fight against Usyk, he made a mistake trying to outbox Usyk. When he come forward and he sits on his lead leg and pop that jab and throw the right hand to the body and head, looks for his pull counters, he's most dangerous. And that's what he's built for. He's a buff, strong dude. That's what he's built for. And Francis is the same way. So yeah, this fight will be more of a battle versus tactical warfare, like the Tyson Fury fight. Because one thing about Tyson, he's so tricky. If you get careless, you can run into traps. So that's why Francis had to show more of a fight IQ than just pure rage and pure aggression. This fight, with a guy standing closer to you, willing to exchange with you more, we'll get the pleasing fight that all the fans want to see for sure.
So Francis Ngannou, he's gonna have two boxing fights, and it's against two of the best heavyweights in the world, two of the biggest names in the world. And I know that he's signed with PFL, right? You know, he signed for MMA, and I mean, he's a boxer, but he's an MMA fighter too. He was the UFC heavyweight champion. Do you
Yes.
think we see Francis Ngannou fight in MMA as well in 2024, or do you think the focus this year will be on boxing?
Well, first of all, whatever he wants to do, I support. I'm willing to help in any magnitude I can possible, but that's up to him. He says he will. Right now, he said I'm doing a both. So that's all I can say. To me, a fight's a fight, a fight. Other words, I don't care what we do. I don't care if it's mixed martial arts. I don't care if it's boxing. My only goal, my only mission is to help him be the best he can be and take his victory. It's that simple, man. I don't over glamorize this. I don't overthink it. I don't make this thing such a complex equation. At the end of the day, once he says, I'm fighting this guy, we're training very hard, very smart to defeat him. And that's what I want Francis to do. Go out there and show the world that the Tyson Fury thing wasn't like you guys think. It wasn't Tyson Fury underestimated him. He had 30 minutes to overestimate him and make it right. You mean to tell me he just thought he wasn't a threat after being dropped in the third round? Tyson did the best he could do at that moment. It's no such thing of underestimating the guy. You have 30 minutes. You have 10 different rounds to impose your will and show who's the more skilled, better fighter. Fury didn't do that. So going into this fight, it's the same thing. It's going to be about who shows up that night and who's there to really be the gladiator and dominate that fight. And I think it's going to be a crazy fight, but I just feel that with the experience Francis got from his first boxing fight, that will show huge rewards in this fight with Anthony Joshua. And like you said, who else in their first two boxing fights have fought two of the best three fighters in the whole freaking world? No one. This is unprecedented terrain. Francis Ngannou is something different.
If he goes out in there and beats Anthony Joshua, right? He has to box moving forward, right? Because I mean, he's already ranked by the WBC. You beat Anthony Joshua, we're starting to talk about title contention, right? Could you imagine?
Yes.
Could you imagine, Dewey, Francis
Already have.
Ngannou going for titles? He's already been the UFC heavyweight champion, going for
Yeah.
titles in two different combat sports. I mean, talk about unheard of. He's already on uncharted territory, but he could take it to a level that maybe no one will ever match.
Let me tell you something, Mark. It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. He's going to defeat Anthony Joshua. And then in October, if the gods of war, the gods of boxing come through and Tyson Fury defeats Alexander Usyk, it'll be Francis and Tyson Fury in a rematch for all the undisputed titles in boxing. A man in his third fight fighting to be undisputed heavyweight champion and winning that in three fights with a record of 2-1, being the undisputed heavyweight champion with all the belts. It's gonna happen, and that's insane. That's never gonna be done again. It's like someone wrote a fantasy book, and this is just so far fetched from being reality. But it's very close, and it could happen in 2024.
It's true. 6 months ago, if you would have said that, people would think that you're crazy. You might have get
I
like,
would have been
yeah,
thrown in this for
yeah,
sure.
exactly,
Straight
exactly.
jacket.
Just a couple of last things, and thank you so much again, Dewey. I want to ask quick about another one of your students, Cody Garbrandt, who had
Yes.
a very, very big win just a few weeks ago at UFC 296 by knockout over Brian Kelleher. And Cody recently moved to Las Vegas in the last year or two, and he's talked very highly about working with you and the guys out there and how it's kind of rejuvenated his career. Just tell me a little bit
Yes.
about Cody and what you guys have been working on, and I think he's gonna have a big fight coming up too in 2024.
Yeah, Cody, man, Cody's a great guy. He works hard. Um, he's one of these guys who's just fantastic to be around. He works hard. And with me, he's already a Ferrari. My job was just to help him polish it up and put some new rims on it. You know what I mean? Just think about the crevices of fighting, like not leaving yourself open for counter strikes and just being cool and not trying to hit the home run shot every swing. You know what I mean? That's all I did for him. The rest of his team are doing a fantastic job. I love them all, and big things to come for No Love. He's a great guy, and I hope 2024 is as great as 2023 was, and I think it will be.
And can you just tell me a little bit about Team Combat League? You know, I'm pretty familiar with it. It's boxing, but it's kind of more of a team format. Pretty
Yes,
unique. Tell me a little bit
yes.
about this.
Thought you never ask. Guys, if you love boxing, Team Combat League is for you. Imagine championship rounds, round 11, the fight's even. Going into round 12, the winner of that round wins the fight. One round, you have 3 minutes to impose your will on your opponent and to win. Well, guess what? There's a new company in our second season, season 2, starting March 28th, that has just those scenarios I just mentioned. You have a team concept, one round each.
One round. Wow. One
One
round fight.
round.
Wow.
One competition consists of a great city who won the first Team Combat League championships, New York City. They're the defending TCL champions. Imagine New York versus Philly in a
My
24.
hometown, Dewey, New York, my hometown.
Yeah,
Let's go.
New York versus Philly, battle on the East Coast in a 24-round fight. Every round, a new matchup of fighters battle it out. Me versus you, Marc. You beat
All right,
me,
Marc, hold
but
on.
you beat me by decision. You get a 10-9 round. You knock me down, you get a 10-8 round. 2 knockdowns in one round is an automatic KO, and the round's over. You'll get 10-7. And we do that for 24 rounds. New
Wow.
matchups every round, and men and women are on the same team. It's the most exciting, the most adrenaline-filled action you're going to see. It's the 12th round of a dead even fight every round. If you don't believe me, go to Team Combat League's YouTube page, click on any fight, and you're going to be shocked and you're going to be excited about it. It's huge excitement. It's perfect for today's society with the information at your fingertips and quick gratification. Now, go, 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 while we have the sport for you. It's called Team Combat League. It's action personified, and I hope you guys support us and check us out this season. The season starts March 12th. I'm sorry, March 14th. Let me get my numbers right. The season starts March 14th. The first fight's on March 28th. It's gonna be crazy, man. Once you watch it one time, you're gonna be hooked, man. It's the way of the future.
Well, that was a great sell. I'm interested in myself. I'm gonna go check that out. I'll let you run. I know you're a very busy man. You're training Francis
Thank you.
Ngannou.
Thank
Is he already in camp? Is camp already
Oh,
started?
yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Wow.
Right now, I'm still in Vegas. I have a guy fighting this Saturday in the UFC. The undefeated, ferocious Farid Basharat is
Yeah,
fighting.
he's great.
Um, After that,
Ashrod is good.
I'm leaving from the UFC Apex from the fight straight to the airport, flying to London. Uh, I get there on Sunday the 14th. The Joshua and Ngannou press conference is January 15th, that Monday. And from there, we're going to Saudi Arabia to train. So he's
So
already been
the camp
working.
will be in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
We'll be
Wow.
there. We're gonna go to a few different places, but we're going there after London, and we're excited, man. Team Ngannou is geared up and ready to go. We expect success. We expect Francis to do what he does against Joshua and win the fight. And man, life could be better for us. Also, really fast, if you want more information on Team Combat League, go to www.teamcombatleague.com. Everything you need is there. Information is there. We've expanded the teams. We expanded the rosters. It's going to be incredible this year. March 28th. Don't miss Team Combat League. Let's go.
Perfect way to end it, Dewey. Thank you so much. Good luck with everything.
Thank you.